This is CBC Windsor News. I'm Jennifer LaGrassa. Thanks for joining us. Windsor's mayor wants to see a 0% tax increase in next year's budget, but some are questioning at what cost. CBC's Dawson Chen reports.
Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkens wants no increase to municipal taxes in the next city budget, and he's exercising his strong mayor powers to accomplish it. It's the 23rd time this year Dilkens has used the special powers granted to mayors by the Doug Ford government. Dilkens' latest direction calls for city administration to come up with a 2026 budget that has a 0% tax increase, while at the same time continuing investment in infrastructure such as road rehab. In a statement to CBC News, the mayor said he wants to give residents certainty from a municipal tax perspective as Windsor deals with uncertain economic times. But Ward 6 Councillor Joanne Gignac is predicting a tough budget process.
I'm very interested in hearing how he will achieve a 0%. I mean, I have gone through budgets where we have achieved 0% in the past. It's going to be difficult. There's no question about it.
The mayoral decision specifically requires that the city keep funding its asset management plan. That's the detailed strategy by which the municipality addresses infrastructure priorities and spending. Usually that plan needs a yearly tax increase of 1.16%, representing several $million. Ward 1 Councillor Fred Francis says he agrees with zero tax increase as a goal, but he wishes he had more information about how the mayor thinks it can be done.
In previous years, we were part of that process, right? With strong mayor powers, we're not. That's why I don't like strong mayor powers. And you're going to have to find savings somewhere, right? Either through efficiencies, increased revenues. And my line has always been, let's try to get to zero as much as we can. But my simple question would be like, okay, if you're doing it this year, why didn't you do it last year?
The city's 2026 budget must be presented to council by February 1st. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Ward meetings are one of the few time residents can get FaceTime with their city councillor. The meetings kick off Tuesday evening, but changes to them this year could limit your access. CBC's Chris Ensing explains.
Are you tired of posting on Facebook hoping that your bright ideas will change the city of Windsor? Ward meetings are an annual tradition that might help you get your voice heard, but some people say changes to this year's edition might make it more difficult for taxpayers to reach their councillor.
Windsor is built on strong communities, and strong communities start with conversation. Join me and your local ward councillor for a series of open, honest, and impactful ward meetings.
But this year, a big change. Instead of meeting with each ward individually, some of them will be combined. The Engage Windsor group is pushing for meaningful political engagement.
Having those ward meetings be segmented out by ward allows you to kind of speak on that a little bit more targeted. And it also allows you to kind of get the sense of how your neighbors are feeling about things.
Ward 7 Councillor Angelo Marignani says it will save the city money.
We do bring in all the top dogs of the city of Windsor. If they're there, they're not dealing with the bigger issues, so there's a time management thing. So trying to be prudent with our tax dollars and keeping it reasonable, I think, is important as well.
Ward 9 Councillor Kieran McKenzie says he was given a choice to combine ward meetings and decided not to.
For me, and just understanding and noting over the years that people have been very engaged at my ward meetings, I want to make sure that the residents in my ward have the full complement of time to be able to talk about the issues that are impacting them in their neighborhoods.
Why the change? Well, the city says that a lot of resources went towards the Ward 2 by-election that would usually help organize these ward meetings. There was also concerns about the Canada Post strike playing a factor. The city decided not to send out mailers to each resident's home. That saved $25,000, but raised concerns about turnout. They thought it would be more efficient to have these meetings combined. The city says you will be able to engage your local councillor in conversation.
Engagement with council is a priority, and we certainly recognize that, and there was no issues in terms of that not happening this go-round.
There is some money to be saved in having city staff go to fewer meetings. It also means less money spent on venue rentals. But people are wondering what the cost of those savings are.
We don't really know that the amount of costs that are being saved is worth what we're giving up, which is that one-on-one interaction with your local councillor.
To find out when your meeting is, head to the city's website. Chris Hensing, CBC News, Windsor.
Colette Kennedy is here with us. Colette, what's the rest of the day looking like?
Well, it looks like pretty nice, in fact. We've got kind of quiet conditions here, a lot of other things going on in the world, and I will be talking about Hurricane Melissa a little bit later in the show again for you. But the temperature this afternoon was up to 12 degrees, and we've been holding nicely there until the sun sets. No frost advisories for us. There's just one over towards the Niagara region for tonight, but the temperature is still going to be cool enough, 4 degrees. We'll have a few clouds into the evening, then clearing overnight, and the setup is quite nice for tomorrow. A little bit of an easterly breeze, but sunshine and a high of 14. We'll have a look at the full week ahead when I come back.
Okay, thanks, Colette. We'll talk again soon.
Sure.
Social media posts which police allege incited hatred against Jewish people and police have led a LaSalle man to be arrested and charged. CBC's Jason Vio has more details.
A 30-year-old from LaSalle made a virtual Ontario Court of Justice appearance from jail. Over the weekend, police arrested and charged Nicholas Amour with public incitement of hatred. Police allege that he did make some online posts that promoted the violence against Jewish people as well as police officers.
For the public to be respectful and kind when they are posting, to be mindful that social media platforms are public, and we take these types of offenses very seriously.
During his brief court appearance, he said, "This is my first time ever having any criminal offense whatsoever, so I would like a couple of days to figure out how this all works." He appears to run a Facebook account with nearly 5,000 followers and has recently posted a number of videos making allegations against people in the Jewish community. In one video, it appears he's wearing a bulletproof vest with an upside-down Canadian flag saying, "We are at war, our humanity, this isn't just Palestine." On October 21st, the day LaSalle police say they started their investigation, Amour posts a video about some Palestinian action.
If you don't hear from me in the next couple days, chances are I was unlawfully detained. And you know what to do. Stand up, fight back.
In a statement, head of the Windsor Jewish Federation, Marian Zeller, thanks police for taking swift action in this case. She went on to say that hate speech against any group is unacceptable and hopes officials do more to protect against the rise in anti-Semitism. According to 2024 Stats Canada figures, more hate crimes are perpetuated at Jewish Canadians than any other group. LaSalle police said that the investigation into Amour is a very active one and there could be more pending charges against him. In court today, Amour was advised to call legal aid and get himself a lawyer for the current charge. He's expected to appear in court again on Wednesday morning. Jason Vio, CBC News, Windsor.
President Donald Trump shut down trade talks with Canada over Doug Ford's anti-tariff ad that aired in the U.S., and the Ontario Premier says he has no regrets. The ad is now paused, but it continued to run until Sunday, including during the first two games of the World Series. Queen's Park reporter Lorenda Redekop takes us through the latest developments.
It was the most successful ad in the history of North America.
Premier Doug Ford defended his ad during question period. He said the Prime Minister and his Chief of Staff both saw it before it hit U.S. airwaves. It uses the voice of former U.S. President Ronald Reagan in a 1987 address talking about tariffs.
But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker.
That ad is why Donald Trump said he called off trade talks with Canada.
It's not about the ad, it's about finding every excuse in the world not to get a deal.
Then later today, Ford was back on U.S. TV.
I don't regret it at all. My intention was to make sure the American people were informed.
He was asked about Trump calling the ad dirty.
It wasn't dirty, it was factual.
Ford says it's about supporting Ontario workers, including in the auto and steel sectors.
I have no intention to poke President Trump in the eye. I just want to get a deal that's going to be successful.
But he does seem to be poking, appearing on multiple U.S. networks today. And on the weekend, on social media with another well-known Trump foe, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, for an apparently friendly World Series bet, clearly aimed at the U.S. president.
Here's to a great World Series and a tariff-free friendship between Ontario and California.
Back at Queen's Park, opposition parties want the premier directly focused on saving Ontario jobs.
And instead, the premier is focused on an ad campaign that's there to, boost his ego, make him feel like a big guy. Donald Trump is not going to save a single job in the auto sector.
Ontarians will pay for it. They'll pay for it with their jobs. That's the risk he took.
We need to be united as Team Canada and not have individual premiers go rogue and potentially undermine negotiations.
As for the cost, Ford says the $75 million campaign will now be considerably less. This is day one that the ad is pulled after airing during Games 1 and 2 of the World Series. It was supposed to keep running until the end of January. Well, Ford wants to talk about that issue. In the afternoon, the government quietly released plans for election reforms without a news conference. It would allow individual donations to a political party to jump from $3,400 to $5,000. Plus, it would scrap the fixed election date law. Lorenda Redicomp, CBC News, Toronto.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has wrapped his first summit with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. That's where he pitched Canada as a reliable trading partner. And it's, of course, in the backdrop of the U.S. tariff turmoil caused by that Ontario ad. Rafi Boudjikanian has details.
On his way out of Malaysia, Donald Trump had a parting shot for Mark Carney.
I don't want to meet with him. No, I'm not going to be meeting with him for a while. No, I'm very happy with the deal we have right now with Canada. We're going to let it ride.
America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Still upset over an Ontario TV ad showing part of a speech from former U.S. President Ronald Reagan criticizing the use of tariffs. Trump has halted trade talks with Canada since last week, just before both he and Carney traveled to Southeast Asia, a part of the world where the two leaders are trying to forge stronger economic ties with their countries. Trump even threatening an additional 10% hike in tariffs on Canadian goods, despite Ontario saying it would pull the commercial this week.
Well, look, with respect to the additional tariff, we haven't seen the specifics about that.
Carney threw the ball back in the White House's court, confirming he and Trump have not spoken.
We stand ready to sit down with the United States, myself with the president, my colleagues with their colleagues, when the U.S. is ready to sit down.
The Prime Minister also said Ottawa made the call not to run ads south of the border during this trade war, falling short of admitting he asked Ontario Premier Doug Ford to stop running his commercial.
In any complicated, high-stakes negotiation, you can get unexpected twists and turns. It is the responsibility of the Government of Canada to have these negotiations.
While Ford himself had this to say.
Do you know why President Trump's so upset right now? Because it was effective. It was working. It woke up the whole country.
Official handshake.
Canada's found a warmer reception in Malaysia as the federal government hopes to sign a free trade agreement with the Association of Southeast Asian Nations sometime next year. Close to 700 million people in 11 countries, all of them with growing needs, says this business group.
Look, I think ASEAN nations are facing many of the trade headwinds that Canada is. And are looking for diversification and the right partners to buy from, particularly around energy and food.
Carney and Trump will now go their separate ways until a second international summit in South Korea later this week. Right now, both men are planning to speak with Chinese President Xi Jinping there, but do not have any talks scheduled with each other. Rafi Boudjikanian, CBC News, Kuala Lumpur.
We're going to take a look outside. It was a beautiful sunny fall day today. Tonight is Game 3 of the World Series between the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. So we're going to have to see what happens there. We've got more news coming up, and Colette will also be back with what's in store for this week later in the program. So stay with us. Welcome back. The United States plans to photograph Canadian travelers who are entering and leaving the country by all modes of travel. And according to the rules, photos will remain in a U.S. database for up to 75 years. Sophia Harris has the details.
Warren Chappelle had an unsettling experience this month at Cleveland's International Airport. He says just before boarding his flight home to Toronto, a border officer took his photo, offering no explanation.
But I was surprised. I was aghast. I felt ambushed because it happened so quickly.
The United States is ramping up its facial biometrics program, photographing international travelers and using facial comparison technology to confirm their identities.
All of our arrival systems are now utilizing facial comparison.
Close to a decade ago, the U.S. rolled out the technology at airports for international arrivals. Canada did the same. Now, the U.S. plans to photograph travelers entering and leaving the country by all modes of transport. Full implementation could take several years, but technology that photographs travelers inside vehicles is expected to be in place at land borders in 2026. No word yet on if it will cause delays.
Doing this at the land ports of entry, the logistics are going to be very difficult.
Meanwhile, the U.S. has already started snapping photos at dozens of airports at international departures, something Chappelle discovered unwittingly.
I was not alerted that this might happen, and I was not given a choice to have the picture taken.
In Canada, all travelers can choose not to be photographed. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says Canadians also have that right in the U.S., but not for long. On December 26, a new rule is set to take effect, making it mandatory for non-U.S. citizens to take part.
What they're trying to do is more, control who's entering this country, national security reasons, and I do think it's going to be the wave of the future.
But it could also serve as a deterrent for Canadians traveling to the U.S., which is already in steep decline. After his experience, Chappelle says he's reconsidering further travel to the country. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
A Victoria man is sounding the alarm after losing his entire life savings to fraud. But the most shocking part, he says, 2 major banks didn't stop it, despite some obvious red flags. Erica Johnson has this Go Public investigation.
There's all the transfers.
Ray Anholt shows his daughter a list, all the times he pulled money out of his bank account, part of an elaborate scam that started after Anholt got a call that said CIBC, but was actually a scammer, pretending to be a bank employee. He tells Anholt, who's 89, that his money isn't safe. The bank needs his help to investigate money laundering.
We want to make sure that you don't lose your life savings. So I went along with it.
Over the next 6 months, under the scammer's instructions, Anholt withdraws his entire life savings, almost $1.7 million, from both CIBC and RBC, handing over stacks of cash and gold bars they'd instructed him to buy. CIBC questions why he's making the withdrawals, but still lets him do it. At RBC, no one questions bank drafts for $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 at a time.
They never once asked that. He drained his account, money coming in from his investments, going out as gold bar.
When he's out of money, Anholt learns he's been played.
I was devastated, totally. And I still am. I think of nothing else, day and night.
Banks are supposed to have policies in place protecting the financial interests of their customers, but a bank accountability expert says employees didn't follow those rules.
It's a horribly negligent pattern at both CIBC and RBC.
Both banks declined an interview, said they had robust and rigorous policies in place to deal with fraud. RBC eventually called a meeting with Ray Anholt and his daughter, told Go Public the matter is now resolved, but wouldn't say how.
Countries like Australia and the UK have introduced legislation that could make the banks liable for failing to prevent fraud. When Go Public asked the Department of Finance if similar protections will be included when changes to the Bank Act are announced next month, a spokesperson declined to clarify. Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
take a look at these fits. So on Friday, I introduced you to Elaine Crowley and her statue geese, which she dresses up, and she had said she was looking for some Blue Jays gear for them, and so sure enough, when I walked by her house today, she had them all dressed up with the new outfits she secured. I thought they looked so great. Colette Kennedy is back. Colette, I think the geese being all decked out is really a good sign for Game 3 of the World Series.
Oh, it's definitely good luck. I'm just amazed.
I think
they look so good, and those look handmade. Like somebody's made those
They are,
specifically
yeah.
for the geese. They're lovely.
Yeah, they're handmade, and I'm feeling like it means there will be goose eggs on the scoreboard for the Dodgers.
Let's hope it works out that way. And that leads me into the forecast for what we can expect here coming up for the game tonight. Now, tonight is kind of typical for this time of year in Los Angeles. Sunshine, 21 degrees, really pretty comfortable. 8 o'clock our time. 5 o'clock their time, and that's really important when we look ahead to games Tuesday and Wednesday, and that is because they get into a heat advisory that's coming in. So the games tomorrow and Wednesday, even at 5 p.m., that's still kind of prime daytime heating. They may be playing in temperatures 30 degrees or warmer, in fact, because those are the forecast temperatures. So there's going to be some heat there. It can lead to some poor air quality too. So all kinds of interesting things going on for our Jays. Go Jays. All right, our current temperatures here, we've dipped a degree, so 11 degrees now in Windsor, but an area of high pressure that's really dominant over Quebec, but having an impact all the way across most of the Great Lakes here, that's protecting us. So a few clouds in the evening, and then we get into some nice clear skies overnight tonight. So we have calm conditions. Things anything but calm, of course, though, if we now talk about Hurricane Melissa, which has turned a little bit more to the west, but it is going to come back north and then northeasterly towards Jamaica. It pushes it a bit further away from the capital, Kingston, so that is a positive thing, but it is expected that it will make a direct landfall. And this is a major hurricane when we're talking about wind speeds here of over 270, now 280 kilometers per hour. As we move forward in time, it moves overnight tonight into early tomorrow across Jamaica. The interaction with the landmass there because of the mountains will weaken it somewhat, becomes a Category 3 as it crosses Cuba and then eventually the eastern Bahamas. But what we don't need to do is worry about it here in North America. It's getting kicked out by a trough. We do just have to enjoy some nice weather for the next couple of days with sunshine before rain comes in later this week.
Okay, thanks Colette. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a good night.